would say, Mike, that the policy environment right now is dynamic and it is complex.
Perishable goods. And so you see that in anything that requires a cold chain. So it's not just foods. It could be pharmaceuticals that require a cold chain. Biological products that require cold chain. Because now you have to make sure that your storage conditions are such that you've got that under control. So that in the instance that there's a delay, whether it's customs or FDA, you know that your carrier, that your freight forwarder, that the broker, the people that are involved are aware of the fact that there's certain storage conditions, and you have to make sure that those are met. Because you can end up getting the cargo released to you and it's adulterated. This is the irony of it.
With the European market is that there will be some regulatory changes from the 1st of July this year, and then again also in November this year. So the Chinese e-commerce giants and marketplaces, they actually will face these regulatory changes, and that means that the cost of moving parcels from China into Europe will go up significantly. So what they need to do is now figure out what are the alternatives that they have to actually make sure that these costs are reduced or mitigated through other means. So what we see with them is that they're rethinking the supply chain models. Do they still want to ship via air directly to consumers, or do they actually want to go business to consumers? And that is where Maersk also comes in to provide those fulfillment services in the European market. So what in Maersk we have been doing for the last years is building up an infrastructure network where we provide sorting center capabilities in 9 different sorting centers in Europe. And between all of those sorting centers, we also have our own line haul operations. So we move parcels all over Europe, basically, from one country to the other, and then are connected to many of the last mile carriers that make the final mile delivery to consumers. For the Chinese e-commerce players coming into the European market, they now have to face these regulatory changes. So right now they need to figure out how can I best adopt my supply chain that is functioning today to the new reality. And if Maersk can be of assistance there, then we're happy to work with them.
Malaysia must establish clear policies, strategies, and a stable regulatory framework to support its energy transition and instill investor confidence amid rapid technological and economic change.
Shipping pharmaceuticals isn't just about keeping cargo cold. Even small temperature shifts can ruin medicines and put lives at risk. So, how do you keep pharma shipment safe and compliant? Drugs, vaccines, and biologics are extremely temperature sensitive. Just a few degrees often can cause chemical changes or lose effectiveness. A validated cold chain from start to finish is non-negotiable. Pharma logistics must follow GDP, GMP, WHO, FDA, and EU rules. You need certified equipment, full documentation, and the traceable temperature records at all times. The biggest risks: customer delays, wrong temperature settings, and packaging failures, poor monitoring, and human error. All can lead to costly, dangerous failures.
Good morning, members of the board. Thank you for joining this emergency briefing on such short notice. We are currently facing a first-year operational crisis regarding our high-value, time-critical cold chain pharmaceutical shipment en route from Thailand to Singapore. As of 2 a.m. this morning, our entire multi-million-dollar consignment of temperature-sensitive biologics was halted at Border 2, which is the gateway of Malaysia. The cause is a sudden and announced regulatory updates regarding import documentation and biosecurity clearance protocols executed by Thailand's Customs Authority. Let me be entirely transparent. This is a race against time. This cargo is reliant on active refrigeration unit with a hard limit on battery life and cooling fuel. If the shipment remains gridlocked for more than 48 hours, the temperature will breach the critical 2 degrees Celsius to 8 degrees Celsius threshold, resulting in a total thermal breakdown, rendering the medicine completely useless and resulting in a total loss of asset value. To salvage this shipment and preserve our corporate reputation, our logistic consortium has activated our emergency response protocol. Over the last 4 hours, we have engineered an aggressive trade facilitation and rerouting strategy designed to bypass this regulatory bottleneck legally, fast-track customs clearance, and safeguard the cargo. I will now hand over to our Custom and Compliance Officer to detail the exact regulatory breakdown and the emergency legal mechanism we are invoking at this very moment.
Thank you, Director. To give a clear picture, Malaysia abruptly modified their health and biosecurity certificate format at midnight under a non-notified emergency decree, rendering our pre-file transit documents technically non-compliant. To break this gridlock, we have immediately invoked Article 7.8 of the WTO Trade Facilitation Agreement concerning expedite shipments and utilize our Tier 2 Authorized Economic Operator AEO status with Malaysia's Custom Administration. Because we are a validated trusted trader, we have formally requested a release on provision of security, allows the physical cargo to move forward immediately while postponing the final corrected documentation settlement for a 14-day window. Simultaneously, our local trade attaché on the ground has initiated a direct escalation to the Director General of Customs at Border 2. We are pointing out that under Regional Trade Facilitation Agreement, emergency biosecurity measure require a mandatory 24-hour grace period for goods already in transit. Looking closely at the biosecurity risks, I have personally contacted the National Bureau of Biosecurity because our cold chain shipment contains highly sensitive medical biologics. We have successfully secured an emergency temporary health permit by uploading our real-time product integrity data through Malaysia's digital single window platform. We are not just waiting for them to say yes. We are simultaneously preparing a secondary compliance package for our backup route, ensuring all advanced electronic data is pre-filed 12 hours before the wheels even touch the ground of the alternative border. I will let our logistics specialist outline how we are moving the cargo physically.
Thank you. Let's look at the physical reality of our asset on the ground. Currently, the shipment in a specialized reefer container at border to holding yard. According to our real-time IoT sensor telemetry, the cooling fuel and battery life on the primary container have exactly 28 hours remaining before depletion. Because a standard administrative resolution at border 2 could take upwards of 72 hours, and we have officially pulled the trigger on our alternative routing strategy. We have secured a cross-border intermodal solution, and we have dispatched a local bonded temperature control truck to intercept the cargo via a cross-docking maneuver directly inside the custom transit zone. By utilizing an alternative Green Line corridor 150 kilometers north, which bypasses the congested main port of entry, we can exploit an existing bilateral transit agreement that recognizes electronic cargo tracking seal. We have already dispatched a secondary crew to pre-stage at this alternative border to guarantee biosecurity and product efficiency, and we have deployed an on-site technician equipped with dry ice replenishment pack to boost the cargo passive cooling runway by an additional 48 hours if required. The alternative route at approximately 6 hours of transit time, but it guarantees a frictionless cruising due to lower traffic volume and automated digital clearance scheme. I will now hand over to legal to discuss our liability and protection framework.
Thank you, Tim. From a legal standpoint, Our primary objective is mitigating our exposure to liquidated damages from the end buyer in Singapore while protecting our rights against the carriers and custom authorities. We have scrutinized the master contract. The unexpected, non-notified regulatory shift by Malaysia constitutes a classic regulatory intervention. We have already drafted and served an initial force majeure notice to our clients in Singapore. This officially puts them on notice that an unforeseeable external event has disrupted the standard timeline, legally shielding us from immediate late delivery fines. Concurrently, we are managing our relationship with Malaysia Custom Authority. Under the terms of our AEO status, we have submitted a formal letter of protest regarding the lack of prior publication of the biosecurity rule changes, which violates international transparency standards under the Article 1 of the WTO Trade Facilitation Agreement. This ensures that any administrative fines or penalties levied against us at Border 2 are documented as dispute, allowing us to claim full recovery post-crisis. Finally, Legal has reviewed and cleared the emergency transport contracts drafted by our logistics specialist for the alternative route. We have ensured that the new subcontract carrier assumes full back-to-back liability for cold chain maintenance during the cross-docking process, keeping our corporate risk exposure firm kept. Next, our financial risk manager will break down the numbers.
Thank you, Consul. Now let's look at the bottom line. The total commercial value of this cold chain consignment is 2.4 million USD. A total loss scenario would result not only in the direct balance sheet hit, but would trigger severe premium hikes on our cargo insurance moving forward. Our cost salvage strategy is highly optimized. The emergency rerouting, specialized cross-docking, and secondary carrier fees total in 45,000 USD. This represents less than 2% of the cargo total value, an extraordinary favorable cost-to-benefit ratio to salvage a critical asset. We have already opened an urgent claim file with our marine cargo underwriters under our inherent vice and temperature deviation accession clause. Because we have taken immediate documented steps to mitigate the loss, specifically by purchasing extra cooling fuel and rerouting, the insurance policy covers these emergency operational expenses under the sue and labor clause. Hence, this means the majority of these 45,000 operational surge will be fully reimbursable by our insurance. By executing this strategy, we are minimizing our projected net financial loss to a minor deductible fee while completely salvaging the 2.4 million payload. This keeps our quarterly logistic budget well within its risk tolerance threshold.
Thank you, team. To summarize for the board, we faced an unexpected regulatory barrier that threatened a total loss of our highly sensitive cold chain cargo. However, through rapid interdepartmental collaboration, we have deployed a robust, which is multi-layered strategy. Firstly, compliance has leveraged our AEO status and single window mechanism to secure emergency clearance path. Next, logistics has safely managed cold chain integrity and initiate a viable alternative route. Third, legal has successfully insulated the firm from third-party liabilities and penalties. Fourth, finance has protected our margins, ensuring our mitigation costs are fully recoverable under insurance guidelines. The alternative transit track is moving, the temperatures are stable, and we expect the cargo to arrive securely at the destination in Singapore within the next 18 hours. We are fully in control of the situation. I will now open the floor to any specific question from the board of directors. Thank you.